if I told you that if you were a kid in ancient Egypt, your breakfast might include bread, fish, and beer, and that your morning bath could sometimes be interrupted by a hungry crocodile or a deadly hippo, and that hair lice was so common that most people opted for having no hair at all. In today's video, we're learning about daily life in ancient Egypt. Come, young pharaohs, and welcome to the Project-Based Learning Series, where we learn how to rule as a pharaoh, inspired by the story of Queen Hatshepsut, which you can watch right here, or here, I'm not really sure where I'm going to put it, somewhere. As the next heir to the throne, it is important that you learn about society, and as your trusted advisor, come on, trust me, look at that hat. I will be teaching you all about daily life here in Egypt. But before we begin, be sure to hit that subscribe button and get ready to do the starter questions on your screen, alright? And now, when you're ready. Life in ancient Egypt began along the River Nile. The River Nile was more than just a river, though, to the Egyptians. It was the lifeline of ancient Egypt. It provided drinking water, fish to eat, fertile soil for growing crops, and acted as an ancient Egyptian superhighway for trading goods by boat. In a country that's mostly desert, the Nile was like the Wi-Fi of the ancient world, connecting people from all around the country. It was absolutely essential. Homes in ancient Egypt were built using mud bricks made from clay, and you guessed it, that clay came from the River Nile. This natural material helped keep houses cool in the intense heat. Most homes had a practical design, with flat roofs where families could sleep during the hot months outside or use it to dry their food. Cooking was done on open fires in clay ovens with ingredients stored in clay pots and jars. Wealthier homes, however, had more luxurious, like beds, wooden furniture, and decorative items made from metal, ivory, or wood. Not quite sure why I've chosen to do a British accent for the wealthier people in ancient Egypt. Maybe because most of this stuff is in a British museum. No comment.
Okay, Britain, now that we finally agree that colonialism was a time of stripping countries of their culture, language, and historical treasures, can we please have our artifacts back? No.
Clothing and appearance. Clothing in ancient Egypt was made mostly from linen. Linen is a material that's woven from a plant called flax, which I learned from RuneScape, an online game when I was a kid. Both men and women wore simple tunics or kilt-like things. Kilts? Can I call them kilts? I know kilts are Scottish. Where was I? Both men and women wore tunics or kilts, I guess, with wealthier people adding jewelry and makeup. Wigs were a popular drip in ancient Egypt, and not just for their style, but they also helped to avoid pesky problems of lice. In other words, people preferred to be bald than get head lice, which is a little bit dramatic ancient Egypt. There was no need to go full Britney Spears on us. Religion and rituals. Religion played a huge role in daily life. Many homes had small altars where family made offerings to the gods. People often prayed, wore amulets for protection, and celebrated religious festivals with feasts and music. Education and children's roles. Children learn from their parents, with boys often training in their father's trade, while girls learned household tasks. So they're just cooking and cleaning. We're sorry, girls. Wealthier families might send their sons to schools to become scribes, a high-status job in ancient Egypt. Most people in ancient Egypt were farmers, while others worked as laborers, craftsmen, or traders. High-status jobs included priests, scribes, and military personnel, and the nobles, which there weren't that many of. For most people, the day started early, with people washing up using water from the Nile and having breakfast, which, believe it or not, often included bread, fruit, vegetables, fish, poultry, and beer. Yes, beer for breakfast. Everybody in ancient Egypt was getting rather merry in the mornings. Goodness gracious, imagine having a few beers before going to build the Great Sphinx. No wonder the nose is missing. But it's not exactly what you think. The ancient Egyptians weren't totally alcoholics. Since water wasn't always safe to drink, beer was actually a much safer option because the alcohol in the beer killed the germs. At least that's what the beer drinking scientists of ancient Egypt told us. Well, cheers. Oh, okay, my cup just broke. Cheers for the ancient Egyptian hydration. Just kidding, there's nothing in it. Don't drink beer, kids. Thankfully, today's water is cholera-free. Anyway, after breakfast, work began, whether it was in the fields, workshops, or trading stalls. At midday, during the hottest part of the day, people took a break known as Shay, resting indoors to avoid the desert heat. Once the sun lowered down, people returned to work for ending the day with an evening meal and spending time with family. In the evening, they would tell stories, play board games like Senet, or even dance. I'm just going to stop myself there. So I read online and in a lot of teaching materials like what ancient Egyptians did for entertainment, and one of the options it always says is dance. I highly doubt they're coming back every evening and just having a little boogie back home. Oh yeah, long day at work in the field, so I think I'm just going to have a little dance here. They probably danced when it was an appropriate time to dance. I haven't researched that. That's probably just common sense. If I'm wrong, you can correct me, but they're not dancing every night. Anyway, let's move on. Now that you've learned about daily life in ancient Egypt, why not create a daily life ancient Egyptian artwork with a modern twist? And all of those worksheets and resources can be downloaded on our website, link in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share this. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.